Turn to Daniel 9 for a moment, and also to Nehemiah 1. Just keep your fingers in those places. Betty has a song that she likes to hear. A few of the lines go like this. If God's people will humble themselves and turn to Jesus and look to heaven expecting as they pray, then I know something good is about to happen.
Yes.
Many people look to heaven expecting, but many times they look to a false god. Billions of people around the world look to false gods. And I don't know what they get when they pray. But if you look back in 1 Kings 18, it tells about the story of Elijah and the prophets of Baal. The prophets of Baal prayed, 420 of them, to their God and got no results. Elijah prayed by himself and got results. If you want results, you have to pray to the right God. But also, even those of us who pray to God often don't seem to get the results we expect. It says in both Matthew 21 and Luke 18 or 19, it is written that my house will be a house of prayer, but you, the merchants in the temple, have made it a den of thieves. It seems that many times, even today, God is robbed of his prayer and of his praise, even in the churches. Many times, prayers are just read from liturgical books. They're not given from their heart. And many of the monies that go into these buildings go into the building itself for the comfort of the people there and not for God's work. So many prayers seem to go unanswered. It says in James 5:16, however, that the effective, fervent prayer of a righteous man avails much. There's two words here, righteous and fervent. You see, it says in Romans that no man is righteous. Therefore, does anyone's prayer ever gets answered? But it also says in Romans that the faith of Abraham was deemed as righteousness. Therefore, that line could really read, the effective, fervent prayer of people of faith avail much. Now, some of the new translations of the Bible just say the prayer of a righteous man. They leave out fervent. And I think that's a mistake. Because fervent means prolonged and persistent and passionate. We get passionate about many things. We get passionate about our jobs, about our car. We get passionate about our homes, about our vacations. We get passionate about sports teams. All over the town, all the time. Even the Toronto Maple Leafs. We get passionate. But how many times do we get passionate about prayer and about our faith? Daniel 6 gives a prophecy. It says this, know therefore and discern that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and to build Jerusalem unto the entrance of the anointed one shall be 7 weeks and 62 weeks. This was a prophecy given by the prophet Daniel. Sometime subsequent to that, Nehemiah came on the scene. And it says in Nehemiah 1 that in the month of Chislev, in the 20th year of the reign of Asterixus. He was the cupbearer to that king. He prayed because he was upset about Jerusalem having been destroyed and not having been rebuilt. And he prayed. And he prayed day and night. He sat down and wept and mourned and fasted and prayed day and night. It says in the next chapter, chapter 2, in the month Nisan, in the same year. Between those 2 months, there are 4 months. So he prayed and fasted and wept and called upon God for 4 months. That is fervent prayer. And when he came before the king, he was sad in countenance. That doesn't sound like very much, but in those days, to be before a king was to mean that the king himself would take away any troubles you might have. And to come before him sad in sadness was an insult, punishable by death. But he came before the king in sadness. And the king just asked him, what was the problem? And he told him the situation. He had prayed fervently for these 4 months. And the king, instead of punishing him, answered his request and signed a decree allowing him to go with an accompanying army to help restore the walls of Jerusalem. People who write commentaries have said that this took place on the 14th of March, using our terms for months, 445 BC. Now, why are dates given in the Bible? Because they're important. And if you calculate this out, because in Daniel's prophecy, every day is equal to a year. So it's called a week of years. The weeks mentioned, the 7 weeks plus the 60 and 2, equals equivalent of 483 years. And that ends up being 173,880 days. It was calculated by a Dr. Robert Anderson, an astronomer and mathematician in England, that on Christ's entrance to Jerusalem was April the 6th, 32 AD. 173,800 days after King Asterixus signed the decree for the rebuilding of the walls of Jerusalem at the time of Nehemiah to the day. It says that the effective prayers, the fervent prayers, availed much. Now God knows the beginning from the end, but he apparently used Nehemiah to help fulfill this prophecy of Daniel's, which was written years before. The prayers of Nehemiah caused the king to sign the declaration at the appointed time. What do we know that our effective, fervent prayers, if we did them, would accomplish? If all Christians did effective and fervent prayers, this world would be a much different place than it is. And who knows, maybe Christ's second coming is even determined by our prayers. We don't know that for sure. No one knows that for sure. But we do know that it avails much if done by the righteous men and women. What's going to happen? God only knows. But it's certainly something we can think about.